back to our grand final edition of Centre Court. All thanks to TAC Ditch the Distractions and Lexus of Berwick, who are here for you. Of course, Ash Brazill is joining me from Melbourne. Grand final week, Ash, pretty exciting.
Grand final week, like that just blows my mind. Where has the time gone?
Oh no, what a quick season it has been. Is this the grand final you were expecting, potentially hoping for?
Yeah, we've been saying it, I reckon, for the last 4 or 5 weeks, that we were expecting to see Vixens fever. I'm super excited because I think they match up so well. And I'm just hoping that it's going to be a close game so it keeps everyone at home just excited, on their seats and entertained.
And also 2 of our former clubs that we have played for. Obviously, I'm very much in the Vixens camp. You're very much in the Fever camp.
Got my green on today.
Oh, you do too. Oh, I've sort of got pink. I mean, not really. But anyway, I'm a neutral commentator when I'm up here, of course. I'm going to throw some stats at you. All right. So this is the last few times that the teams have played. So the last time they played in 2019, the 2 times they played in 2019, it was a draw in Perth. And then Vixens won by 12. Then this year, Vixens won by 9 in round 5, and then in round 10, it was a draw. It's fascinating to see them go head to head. The stats, though, that really stand out to me. Vixens shooting average, 86.2%, and their centre pass to goal efficiency. So this means when they get a centre pass and it goes through to a goal, Vixens sit at 71.6%. All right. Now, they are the second, I guess, to be in the competition. They sit second on the ladder for both of those stats. The team that sits number 1 is West Coast Fever. Their shooting average, 86.3, so they're 0.1% higher than the Vixens, and their centre pass to goal efficiency is 73.9%, so just over 2% higher than the Vixens. So I don't know if we can get a better grand final. It is strength v strength. They are matched up all over the court.
Yeah, and what I love about it, B, like you say those stats, they're very similar, but the way they go to post is so different. Like You've got Fever that can literally take the centre pass and throw it straight to Fowler. And they do that when they're in trouble. They're not afraid to do it. So Vixens are going to be very aware of that. Where Vixens, they're most of the time hitting the top of the circle before they feed it. So we've got 2 different game plans, but very similar stats. So I think it's going to be exciting, but we're going to see 2 different styles of netball. And for me, that's what I think is exciting. What is going to win this grand final?
And one thing that I did really, I was impressed by the Fever's performance against the Lightning in the preliminary final. Fever started the game really well, but they just kept pushing. Even when they had a significant lead at halftime, they kept pushing. And I think it was the first time that I'd really noticed that rather than their quick way they play, we know Verity Charles steps into that centre circle. She wants to play on really quickly. It was the first time that they actually were playing with a lot of patience. If it didn't work to get to post quickly, they actually could work it around. They were going quite wide, and it didn't seem to rattle them as probably what it would have in the first half of this season. So it was a real change up for me to see that. If they can add that to their game, they're pretty powerful.
Yeah, and that's something Vixens are going to be, I think, aware of. I think they've shown their card just before the grand final, because I'd be interested to see how many times they actually pass back to go forward. Jess Anstiss had the ball a lot in her hands, same with Stacey Francis. Now, if I was Simone, I would be on Caitlin Thwaites, Tegan Phillips and Liz Watson's back, that no ball goes back without pressure. Like if they're taking that ball, they're getting a knock each time. So I think, yeah, like I said, it's going to be a different game to the one we've just seen.
Oh, it sure will. And we've got a real treat for everybody today. We thought it's grand final week, so we need to get 2 players on it that are going to be a part of that grand final. And we have coming up for you Jess Anstiss, wing defence, sometimes gets thrown into the centre for the West Coast Fever, and Liz Watson, the co-captain, the swing attack, sometimes centre as well, for the Melbourne Vixens. So I can't wait to just hear all about what their week has been like, the preparation for the grand final, and how different it must be being up here in Queensland when, you know, all their Melbourne fans are at home and all the West Coast Fever fans are at home. Can you imagine playing in a grand final up here, Braz? How would you prepare for it without having all the normal things around you?
Oh, you know what? I would love it, because I think Louis and Brooke would still be with me. I don't think I'd be able to go up there without them. But I think they've had time to make that their home. They've got no distractions. Like we talked about this last week, that if they were in Melbourne, they'd have cameras in their face, they'd be on the radio 24/7, there'd be so much hype around it that I'm assuming it's not like that up there. Or it might have been, but I don't think it would have been as crazy as in their home state. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I don't know. You like the pump up before the grand final, don't you?
Yeah, I like to just be prepared early. So I'm very much like your Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That was when I would do all my serious analysis and get my body right. And then I need to be super relaxed and chilled by game day. So if I wake up on game day morning, I want to muck around. I want to laugh. I want to know that all my prep's done. Because if I'm still overanalyzing it pre-game, then I go on and get on court thinking about it all the time and overanalyzing what I'm doing. So
yeah, I'm very much, I don't even think about the game until I'm at the court kicking a footy around, until the dress comes on, which is literally just before the coach talks, then I'm game focused. Otherwise, I'm a nervous player. The nerves are so real. I'm still that little kid living the dream. So every game, it's I don't think about it until that dress comes on. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm excited to hear what the two girls we have on, what they're like.
And you know what I also loved about playing, and you miss it a little bit, is around what happens in the change rooms. You know, you've always got your little change room buddies who are either the light-hearted ones with you, so you muck around with them. You've got the serious ones in the corner who have got their headphones on. What's it like in the Magpies change room? Who are your buddies that you know you can muck around with, you're not distracting before the game?
So in our change room, we have two areas, fully completely different areas. And so we've, instead of doing the crazy ones and the quiet ones, it's just worked out that the defenders are exactly the same and the attackers are the same. So defenders, we're pretty chilled out. We're talking anything but netball, where the attackers have the music pumping, and then all of a sudden the headphones come on, they're very serious, and we just sit there and watch them and really just have a laugh at them. They're just crazy, different breeds, the attackers. I love that in my team, Jiva, April last year, and Ravi last year, the four of us were very much the same type of people. So that was a good thing. But
yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to finding out what our guests are like pre-game and how they're feeling about it all. So let's do it. It's time to get to the agenda, thanks to TAC. If you're on your phone, you are driving blind, ditch the distractions. Whereas, as we always love to do, we love to get the players on and actually be able to talk to them about what is happening in the hubs in Queensland, but also the big week that it is going to be. And thank you so much for joining us, Jess Anstiss. Welcome to Centre Court.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
I'm going to start us off because I really want to know what it has been like the last couple of weeks, especially heading into finals and obviously getting the two big wins that you've got. What's it been like being in Queensland, experiencing all of that?
Yeah, hub life's a bit different, but yeah, it's been positive vibes around the team, and yeah, having those wins the last 2 weeks in the finals, it's obviously different not playing in front of our home crowd, but yeah, we're absolutely loving it over here.
Yeah, and Jess, for me, I'm super proud of you. Bianca, when I was at Fever, I watched Jess as a young kid going from 17s, 19s, 21s, now into Fever and now an Australian Diamond. Jess, how does it feel to get that phone call that you, or probably even just the heads up by Stace being your coach now, that you're now in the Australian squad?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, to be honest. Yeah, I had a missed phone call from Stacey, but I just assumed it was about Fever stuff and training. I thought it was a bit weird timing. So, yeah, when I called her back, I was, completely shocked, to be honest, that she's calling as the Diamonds coach. But, yeah, no, it's awesome. And I'm very excited to get into camp post-season.
I love that you missed the call.
Are you telling me that you're taking credit for everything Jess has done?
Nah, she's actually taught me everything I know. I had to keep my game up because she was taking my spot, so I just had to keep getting better.
No, Braz
doing right.
Braz taught me everything I know. I'll give you that.
All right, we'll make sure that we keep that recording. You were in the grand final in 2018 with Fever, and I don't want to go back there too much, but surely as a group, you've stayed together. A lot of the players are still the same from that grand final. What do you think as a team that you've learned from missing out just on that premiership in 2018?
Yeah, I think it's huge that we've had that experience in 2018, and I guess having that loss as well, we know what it feels like to lose a grand final. And yeah, like you said, the majority of the team is still together. So I think it's something like 5 of the starting 7 actually played in that grand final. So yeah, it's huge experience, and I've definitely already learned back on like how I prepared in that week and what to do going forward.
Is that something that your team talk about, Jess, like this week? Is it something, do you watch the game, do you bring it up, or is it just something you guys don't talk about?
We haven't addressed it yet, but I'm sure I remember last time we went back on experienced players like Nat and what she had been through with grand finals and stuff. So I'm sure it will come up at some stage this week. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
One thing I'm absolutely loving on court is just the connection and combination between yourself and Verity Charles. It really seems to have gone to a whole new level this season. The speed that you play at, we know you throw yourself on the ground to get any ball. Can you talk to us about what that's like to play with Vez and how you've kind of developed that over the season?
Yeah, Vez is an amazing athlete, one of the quickest players I know, to be honest. And yeah, I guess we've played together now for the last 4 years, so we've really been building that connection on and off the court. And I think being in hub life has actually really helped us because we have connected that a little bit more on a deeper level. So I think that's showing on court now.
Yeah, I think you can tell that you guys have that connection. And like, I think for all of us at home, it's been exciting to see what teams connect in that hub. So awesome that you guys are. On a personal thing, Jess, about you and your game, there's been so much talk about Maddie Proud hitting the deck, but I reckon you've got it in the bag over her. You hit the deck, I reckon, every quarter just because you're so hungry for the ball. How's your body feeling?
Yeah, it's funny actually. I'm pretty sure the game just gone on the weekend was the first game I didn't actually hit the deck, as the stats guy told me. But yeah, so my body's feeling pretty good this week. But yeah, it does pull up pretty sore from hitting the deck a bit. But yeah, I'm used to it now. It's just the style in which I play. I like to get those bin chickens.
Love it. And I think you guys must probably, besides Lightning, are the only team that have taken up the bin chickens because everyone at home is just questioning what is that. But no, you're doing awesome. Have you noticed a difference between like the 3-day turnaround to the week turnaround?
Yeah, to be honest, I quite like the condensed season because it meant less training and it kind of, just flowed on and you're able to play and kind of just forget about that game and move on, which I quite like. But yeah, now that we're in finals, it is nice to rest the bodies a bit and feel a bit more ready for those game days.
One player that is a standout in your team and probably gets such a huge amount of credit, she deserves it. I mean, I know you all are the workhorses behind, getting the feeds in. I'm talking about Jhaniele Fowler having such a powerful shooter up front. She was one of the reasons I retired because I could not play on her anymore. I had had enough trying to jump and get up to that ball. Can you give us some insight on what it's like to play with her? When you've got the ball and when you might be off balance, what a relief it is that you can just put it in the air and know 9 times out of 10 she's going to pull it in.
Yeah, she's a phenomenal athlete and very lucky that she's on my team and we don't have to play against her, to be honest. But yeah, I love coming down the court and seeing those big beady eyes looking at you and you know that she's on and she wants that ball. So even as a wing defender, I get a couple of feeds in a game, which is great because, she's just such a huge target down there. And the girls, I know sometimes people like to double team her, but the girls still manage to get the ball through. So yeah, she's huge for us.
And Jess, what is she like as a person? Because a lot of us, being an Australian, we don't really get to know the internationals where we all know each other really well being all Australian athletes. What is Jhaniele like? Because I know Shimona in our team is just a ball of energy, has a lot of sass. Can you give us an insight on Jhaniele?
Yeah, Jhaniele's just a typical Jamaican, very chilled out and always on Jamaican time, funnily enough. But she's actually a quiet assassin. So she'll make little jokes here and there. And when she comes out of her box, she's very similar to Shimona, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I want to also talk about one of the young guns and someone who really stood up in that first semi-final that you played against the Swiss, and that's Sunday Ariane. What a phenomenal defender she is, just her ability to read the play. Can you give us a bit of an insight into her development? I mean, Braz spoke us through like your kind of stepping stones. How long has Sunday been around the team? And I know she's just stepped up this season to get more court time, but yeah, give us a bit of an insight into Sunday.
Yeah, she's pretty similar to me, followed that Netball WA pathway, so has been through like the state schoolgirls, the 19s, etc. So yeah, she has kind of just come out of nowhere, but she has been around, and I was fortunate enough to play state league with her as well back at Rangers, and I could always see that she's gonna go places. And even her sister, she's got a younger sister who's also phenomenal, so it's going to be awesome when they both come through the ranks.
Are they both defenders?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, that could be one dangerous combination down the back.
She also has an older sister, B, who's a shooter and is a gun, and I'm surprised hasn't been picked up. So, maybe there might be a chance of her later on. I know we don't have any shooters yet, so.
All the recruiters out there, Braz has said it now.
Yeah, well, she's a gun as well. And Jess, we were all heartbroken when Ingrid went down. Have you heard about her? Have you heard from her? She still join Zoom calls? How is she?
Yeah, I try and keep in touch with her like every week, just because she's one of my closest friends. And yeah, she's going okay. She's had a surgery now. I think she's had a bit of time back home because she's from down south. So yeah, I think she would obviously be devastated that we're in the grand final, but also extremely happy for us. So it's a bit of a hard spot to be in, but I think Emma Kosh has obviously filled her shoes in an amazing capacity, and Ingrid, they're both very close friends as well, so she'd be extremely proud of her. So yeah, Ingrid's just focusing on her rehab at the moment, but yeah, she's there in spirit.
Yeah, you talk about beautiful people, B, and Ingrid is one of the best. Like, she's just an unreal human, and someone, I remember the first time she played on Renee Hallinan, Renee Ingles, and she just didn't even know who she was. She was just so happy to be on the court, and we're like, you're playing the Australian wing defence, and she was just like this bubbly little kid. And what I love about her is she hasn't changed. So like Ingrid, we hope you're doing well. Jess, one last one from me, and then B. I'm sure B's got a few more. Do you have any family coming across, or is the borders too strict to come across to watch the grand final?
Yeah, unfortunately, borders are a bit too strict. So yeah, my parents really wanted to come here, and they thought about packing the caravan a couple of weeks ago and heading over, but yeah, we just weren't too sure. Yeah, so they can get over here. It's just that they can't get back into WA because it's apparently not a central service coming to watch grand final, which I'd like to argue.
Yeah. I would argue that too.
At least we know that both teams, I guess, are in the same camp, aren't they? Like, no one can really have their own fans, but it's people like Ingrid Collier, I think, that stand out. That they're your support network. That whether they're here or not, they've got their back, and that's why those players are so important to a team. Obviously, you're in preparations now for the big game on Sunday. What does the rest of the week look like for you? So Wednesday today, what does the rest of the week look like? And what are some of the things that you do as a team to, just keep yourselves positive and keep yourselves up and about and excited about the big game?
Yeah, I guess preparations don't really change too much. We try and see it as another game, although we know that it's not. It's it's a huge game. But yeah, just in terms of training week, it's basically we're following the exact same schedule as last week. And then we'll throw in a family or team dinner at some stage this week as well. So as a team, we like to get out and have some dinner. And then game day, we've been following a routine of just going out for a team walk. Not making it compulsory, but every week I think everyone's been coming. So yeah, they're just the little things that we've been doing as a team. And the night before game day, Stacey always has something pretty special to show us videos from family from home or support back home. So that's always pretty special.
And are you a nervous type player? Before a big game, do you get all the nerves in your belly and you think, oh, I'm so excited to get out there? Or are you pretty cool, calm, and collected?
Yeah, I'm pretty cool, calm and collected. I get a bit worried sometimes that I'm not nervous enough, to be honest. But yeah, I think I'm quite happy that I'm cool, calm and collected and don't get those nerves.
Well, thank you so much, Jess, for joining us. It's been great to get your insight, and we're super excited to see you get out there. You've had a phenomenal season so far, and especially you personally, but also as a team. So all the best for Sunday, and I can't wait to see you courtside.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
That was the agenda, all thanks to TAC, Ditch the Distractions. It's now time to get to the nitty gritty, thanks to Lexus of Berwick, who are here for you. And Braz, we've got another grand finalist with us, this time for the Melbourne Vixens. Co-captain, gun wing attack, Lizzie Watson, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys. How you all going?
Oh, look, we're okay. I'm sure not as excited as what you are for what's about to happen on Sunday. Can you tell us, one, how it's been? Because you obviously didn't have to play last weekend, so you've had 2 weeks to think about this grand final.
Yeah, it's been a long time considering we did have the back-to-back games. It felt like a long time since I've been out on court, but Simone gave us a bit of a practice run last Friday afternoon. So we did that amongst ourselves with a few extra players, and we made it pretty much as game day as we could. So we even wore our dresses, we had the team meeting, we had everything that we would do on a game day. We went into the change rooms, did all of that stuff. So it did actually feel like we were going to have to play a game. And then we had the whole weekend off, and then came in on Monday, obviously watched the game on Sunday. So we knew that we were up against Fever. And Monday was a good day. We reset, we focused a little bit on Fever and what we want to sort of put out against them. But since then, it's just been the Vixen way, and hopefully, leading into Sunday and have a good game.
No, love that. And you had the weekend off, you just said, but being from Melbourne, and you're not here, I'm glad you're not here, Liz, but not being able to leave the house. What do you get up to in Queensland? Is there restrictions? Is there free time? What is it like?
We actually do have quite a bit of free time. Simone's been very generous with that. So we've got a few cars that we share amongst the group. So most of our days off, we do either head down to the Gold Coast or the Sunny Coast and have a bit of beach time. Some of the girls have been going shopping. Some of us are still studying, but we do have a few restrictions, but obviously not like Melbourne. So we do have the freedom to go to cafes and restaurants as long as we sit outside, avoid large crowds, and just make those smart decisions. But I think having that time away, and Simone said, even though we're all here, we're all in each other's space, I'm not going to be putting on extra meetings or extra training sessions just because we can. So let's make life as normal as possible. And I think everyone's really enjoyed that. We've got today off as well. So we're pretty lucky.
The day off is still wearing your uniform. I love it.
We appreciate that. So it's 14 weeks so far. Who have you been rooming with? Who have you had to put up with this whole time?
I have been with Kate Maloney right from our quarantine phase, but everyone sort of had their 1 or 2 buddies that they've kind of stayed close with. We've got Maddox and Joe just across the hallway, so we do have dinners with them quite often. But I think, Kate's been awesome. I've never actually lived with her, and we know each other so well. I think we know when to give each other space. Like, she's gone out for a bit now, and she's probably needing that space actually. But yeah, I think we just sort of, we kind of eat the same foods, we cook together, so it's quite easy.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know, but being like I guess your pre-season in Melbourne when COVID hit, and I guess Vixens and Collingwood both were pretty similar to the rest of the states. How did you guys manage that? Like, what was the training like? Could you train all together before you went to Brisbane?
Yeah, obviously the first isolation was all done from home. So we got the gym equipment, set up a little gym garage as most people in Melbourne did in that first time. But once we moved into the second lockdown, we could train in smaller groups. So we had little mid-court sessions or defensive sessions. I think the numbers were under 5 or something inside, and then it grew to 10. But obviously we've got 10 players, but then we've got 3 or 4 staff members as well. So we had to manage how many physios were coming in, how many assistant coaches. But Simone says now, even looking back, she really actually enjoyed that small, training. And as a mid-court, I've never really had like the specialist sessions just for the mid-court. I feel like we're always sort of feeding the goalers or working with the defenders and being those bodies. So it's actually nice to have the 5 mid-courters in with the mid-court coach, and we really focused on that. So we didn't do any practice matches or anything, obviously, before we left. We had all that done in February. We actually went to New Zealand, which felt like a lifetime ago, but that was obviously before COVID. And since then, it's just been ourselves. And I think the beauty of taking 14 of us was that when we got to Brisbane in quarantine, we could actually play against each other. So Simone was like, let's keep the 14 girls here so we can actually have a proper match.
Yeah.
Oh, now you've just proven to every coach that you never need to have practice matches.
Yeah, exactly.
You never need to have a big pre-season. Like, you can do it on Zoom. That's okay.
Yeah, we used to do courts.
Practice matches are the best. I'd rather play than
train. Yeah, that's why I love the midweek games. Less training, more games. I was all for that.
Now, Liz, one game that we got to be a part of together was back in 2014 when we beat Queensland Fibers in the grand final. That was your first year. You came in, you didn't even do a pre-season that year either. You came in in February, I think, when Alyssa Kent announced that she was pregnant. And so we needed a centre quarter to come in and replace her. And in you came, and in your first year managed to win a premiership. What are you drawing on from those experiences back then? I know it was a fair while ago now. I guess to try and support some of the young girls and trying to get through all the unknowns of this couple of weeks.
Yeah, that felt like the best year for me. I just came in, I was like, oh, premierships are easy, this is great. And then obviously now, 6 years later, you realise how hard they actually are to come by. But I think we've seen some young players, especially Ali Smith, just go out and step out on court. I just love the confidence, and I think you've just got to let them go, be confident, and just, take the game on. And we've said that to Ali without putting too much pressure on her. Just go out there, play the way that you've been playing and training. And that's with all of our young players. You just see when they get out there, they're just excited. They're excited just to be here, really, which is great. And I think for them, if they were to stay in Victoria, there's not even any netball going on at all. So they're loving the opportunity to be up here. But it is different now, I guess, being one of the older players and being around for a bit longer. But I think as cliche as it is, you don't want to change the week or change the game or hype it up, but actually acknowledge that it's an exciting week and embrace it and have fun. And I think that's what we've been talking about most of the week.
Yeah, and Liz, you are my favourite wing attack to play on. You're not just a great player, but you're an awesome human. And I know when I come across you, you just play the game, and that's what I love about you. But everyone's question now is, how is that ankle? And are you able to train? Are we 100% to see you on court? Because we want you out there.
I will definitely be out there, no doubt about it. And I think, it was probably a bit worse than I actually thought. I think adrenaline got me through the game when it actually happened. And then the next day I was just so fat, could hardly see my toes. And I was like, oh no, what's going on here? But it was very smart of me, I guess, to miss those 2 games as much as I wanted to be out there. And then round 14, obviously we had secured that top spot. But for me, I want to play and I wanted to feel good and go into finals having played. Simone's like, it's okay, I'll give you maybe a half, even a quarter. Go on for 5 minutes if you want. Like, I don't want you to risk it. Me wanted to play out the whole game. But it has been good. It's still just been managed, I guess. I have trained this week and I will do our full session tomorrow. But then obviously we have Friday to rest again, light run on Saturday before the game. So it's just going to be one of those things. If you've done an ankle, it stays pretty fat and stiff for a while. So I've been on the physio table most days, but it is good. I sometimes carry a little limp, but I try to disguise that. But no, it's going well. I'll be fine.
Well, a couple more days to rest. Please just rest it. You don't need to prove anything now. Just be there on game day.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the lead up to Sunday, how much time do you spend focusing on fever, and how much time do you spend focusing on the way the Vixens want to play and the way the Vixens need to play?
Yeah, well, what we did last week, we actually broke up into groups and analysed fever and lightning, and that was before the game. And I think Simone wanted to do that. So on Sunday we can watch the game, and then on Monday we come in and we've got all the work done on both teams. So we knew we're playing fever. Okay, this is what we need to focus on. So Monday was a bit of a tactical kind of walk, go through what we want to focus on against fever. But then it's been completely flipped to us, and we're just focusing on us, not in an arrogant way, but more of a confident way, and knowing that our game plan doesn't have to change too much. We know that if we do the best of what we want to do, then we'll have a win. So Tuesday was in the gym, and tomorrow will be our main court session, and we'll definitely just play the way that we like to play, focus on us and have those little tweaks in our game, I guess, to combat fever. But I think it was nice on Monday to come in as a group, know that all the work's done, let's focus on the fever analysis and just go from there.
And I just want to talk about Caitlin Thwaites. So everyone knows her as a goal shooter, and this season she's been a goal attack. How did that transition happen? And was she from the get-go, this is what I want? Because I've loved watching her out there. She seems like a completely different player. Yeah,
I don't know. Actually, I don't know how it happened so quickly as well, to be honest. I think in, back in pre-season when we were training and playing practice matches, she was crossing through to goal attack as well. But to me, she was still more of a goal shooter, but Simone was wanting her to work on a goal attack game. So I think that just kept happening, and she kept rotating through, and then had this great combination with MJ. And I think we've seen at the start of the season their 3 little rotations being completely different. We've even seen Tegan in goal shooter. So I think that's good. And with the rolling subs, if she gets a bit tired, she runs off, Tegan runs on, and they rotate, and it's been actually working really well. But I agree. I think she's a completely different player. She nails those long shots for us, which I think has saved us in a few games too. So I think the ability to run around in goal attack and then nail a 2-point shot, she's been working really hard.
Yeah, no, it's been great to watch.
Yeah. Well, we know that we were speaking to Jess Anstiss before, and we we're talking about how different it is not having your family and friends and anyone up here supporting you. You're obviously used to that all season. What kind of things are you doing, or is the club doing to keep everyone included back in Melbourne?
There's actually a lot going on, more than what we probably know. They've got a family WhatsApp chat that is sent through photos and messages and things all the time. Especially this week, they're sending off some hampers and T-shirts and things that they can watch the game. They're having a grand final viewing party. And then on Monday, we've got our presentation night, which they'll be involved in via Zoom or Facebook or whatever it is. So I think there's always that constant chat with them. They've sent through lots of video messages that we had a little package put together before we started the season. We've had dress presentations, we've had the Indigenous round dress presentation. They're all involved via Zoom. So Netball Vic staff have done so much with them, probably more than we even know. They're constantly chatting and sending through the cheer chant and all that kind of stuff too. So I think this week's exciting for them. They're obviously so disappointed that they can't be there, but they'll have that little live, I think they're doing like a cheer party or something for the grand finals. So I might have to tell Mum to put herself on mute. She might get a bit crazy.
I love that. And I think a lot of people don't realise how important our support, our family, partners are to us in these situations. Bianca and I have talked about it heaps, and we rely on them so much in the highs and the lows. So I can't imagine what it would be like for you guys up there. But I guess, like you said, you've created that own family with your team. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I think even that feeling, after a game, sometimes you just want to go out with your family and not talk about netball, or go get pizza or something and just really switch off. So I think we've sort of had to create that ourselves, and we go get takeaway. We don't talk about sport. We just sort of enjoy each other's company. And even though we are with each other all the time, you've just got to make the best of this situation. And I think we've definitely done that.
Yeah, and off Vixens just for a second, and onto the Diamonds just quickly. I know you don't want to talk about stuff like that because it's after.
That's okay.
What's the plan? Obviously, the grand final happens. Hopefully, you guys get the win. Does the Diamond Camp happen straight away, or do you guys get a bit of a break?
Yeah, so we'll play, obviously Sunday, Monday's our presentation night. Tuesday is just the pack up, get everything sorted. And then Wednesday, we actually head to Noosa. So we're kind of lucky that we've been able to keep training and playing right up till then. But some players, like the girls from the Swifts, they've had to stay up here. Obviously, they can't get back to Sydney and then back without having to quarantine. So most of them have just stayed in an apartment or something up on Gold Coast, and they'll head down to Noosa too. Some players have gone home who are from Adelaide, and they can obviously fly back in. So it's an individual process on border restrictions on where you're able to go. So we'll head to Noosa on Wednesday, and we've got Wednesday to Tuesday a camp. We're not quite sure what's actually happening. I know that there's no fitness testing or no training or anything, which we're all cheering about quietly. Yeah, the best camp ever in Noosa, can't complain. I think there's a few fun activities to go around really. So it'd be nice just to almost reflect on the whole season as well, and then start the new chapter for the Diamonds with the new coach as well.
100%.
Okay, Lizzie, a question not about the grand final, but I want to know, because Braz has just snuck into this show all season. Obviously, she's been recovering from an ACL, but we never get the goss on what Braz is like to actually play against. And you guys go head to head all the time. Can you just give us a bit of an insight? Is Braz one of those dirty players that grabs on all the time, or what's she really like?
No.
Oh my God.
She's one of the most clean, I'm not just saying this, Braz, one of the most clean players to play on. I think she just uses her speed and jump as well really, really well. I know the girls put together a bit of the highlights for actually it was more lowlights. It was me stacking it for my 100th game, and if you watch it, the very last ball I go up to get, but Braz just comes over this massive jump and almost just speckies me and grabs the ball, and I fall over, but she helps me up, she pats me on the back, and then we set the play and go on. But I think we've had great chats on the transverse line sometimes, or you might yell out, oh, that was a really good pass, or it's like, oh, thanks, or things like that. So yeah, very clean, and can't wait to see you back out there, Brazzy.
Thank you, Liz. But
Sorry, B, can't give you any.
Oh, that's okay.
I just can't believe that your team put that together, that you were on the deck.
I know.
Over you. Like,
I
what
know.
a team.
Thank you, guys.
See, that's one thing I think, what I love about Liz, and it's the love of Ash and Liz right now. But to be honest, like, that's why I love playing Liz, because it's very rare you get a player that you can actually like just appreciate their game style. And I think we both have that mutual respect that, you know, I'm not going to walk on. It's not going to be an easy win. Like, each game we've played each other, someone else stands up. So I think it's that challenge. It's exciting. You know, you're in for a battle every time you come up against each other.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
And you love it.
We were just talking about the rough players and who's, you know, because we know it'll be a really physical game on Sunday. But I think now you all just prepare for that, don't you? You're so used to having to come up against that all the time.
Yeah, and even the game on the weekend, watching Fever and Lightning, you could see it was getting quite rough. And I think one thing we noticed was as soon as Lightning dropped their head or looked for the umpire's call, Fever had the ball straight down the other end and they were shooting. So you can't afford to let that impact you, but you've got to start strong and set that tone right from the start and be that physical, you know, fair, but be out there to win and play fair and play strong. But yeah, like you said, it's every game now. There's no, I guess every team's pretty tough and pretty strong. But yeah, I think Fever definitely have that extra little mongrel.
And I'm sure you guys do too. Look at Vixens. We're so clean. We're fine. We're not physical.
No, we're a nice team, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything, Liz, that you guys are going in with a focus on how to beat Fever?
It's definitely the defence. I think every team speaks about it. You've got to stop the ball before it gets to Fowler, and that's the main goal. So, yeah, I think it obviously starts from our attacking end, and as boring as it sounds, it's that defensive focus and trying to actually attack the ball in defence, because Simone said, look, once the ball gets pretty much anywhere in that goal third, close the circle edge, love your goalkeepers, but it's probably going to go over your head into Fowler. So we've got to attack it. So have a fly, create something, but also just acknowledge that the game's probably going to be, you know, pretty tight right to the end. And that's when, you know, hopefully Fever can start tiring from the defensive pressure that we've put on. So be patient with it. Let the game ride out. Don't get too worried that the ball's going over and they're scoring, because they're going to keep doing that. But once it gets to the end, hopefully we've put enough defensive pressure, and that's when the mistakes and the wins come. And then on the flip side, once you get that ball, making sure that you score. And I was actually saying to B the other day, we practiced the extra time, and we don't want to get there because it's very different and very annoying. So hopefully we can win without going into extra time.
Yeah. Whoever wants to play extra time, I don't know.
Oh, no way.
And being a spectator, we're hoping
yes.
yeah.
Well, I know. And being a mid-quarter, you definitely don't want to have
Oh, no way. At least it's only 5 extra minutes, not the each end this time, but no thanks.
I love that coming from a goalkeeper. Yeah, we don't want it to
on
be.
quarter fence at the end. That would have been hard in extra.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, against Fowler. Yeah, she's just such a machine down there.
Oh, 100%. Anyway, it gets us very excited for what's going to happen on Sunday, Lizzie. We wish you all the best from
Thank you.
and our little centre
good luck,
court
Lizzie.
crew.
Thank you so much, guys.
And I can't wait to be sitting there courtside watching
Yes.
you all in action. So thank you so much for joining us, Lizzie, and all the best for
Thank you.
Sunday.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
It's now time for Braz's favourite segment, and it is Brazilliant. What have you got for us this week, Braz? What's been standing out?
The best segment, B. And, you know, I just thought this week it's the last one, so I'm going to throw it to the players. Normally I talk about good human behaviour, but this is all about good sportsmanship. Watching the Fever Lightning game, for me, what I love the most about that is Channel 9 was throwing to the crowd, and I was seeing the likes of Romelda Aiken, Jeevan Mentor, Sonia McCloma. I was seeing Beryl Friday, Nia Allen from Collingwood. Like, there was just so many other players at the game just supporting the game we love, and that could have been, supporting old teammates, supporting international teammates, just being there to watch the game. But what I love about it the most, and I don't think a lot of people understand this, but when you have a full season, you're playing to be in this game and you're out. Normally, I don't know, I'm going to speak about myself here, but it is so hard to watch the finals and the grand final because you're not in it. And I reckon a lot of players don't actually watch it. So to now see players live at the game, supporting the game we all love, I just think that is Brazilliant. And I'm excited to see who comes to the grand final because it's the biggest day in our netball career. And I actually do think we're going to see a few players there that have played all season and aren't in that game.
Oh, 100%. I agree with that. I would have found it really hard, to be honest, if it was me not in the grand final going to watch another grand final. I don't think I've ever gone and watched finals where I haven't been a part of it, even if they were in Melbourne. So I think it is pretty incredible that everyone's out there supporting. What's going on right now is Super Netball, but also the players are all up here. I know some have gone home, but there are a lot of players who are staying up in Queensland. A lot have to stay up in Queensland for Aussie Camp too, if you're eligible for the Diamonds and in the Diamonds, which is happening after the grand final. So a lot of players are hanging around up here, just enjoying the sunshine while they can. But it's awesome to see, and I'll make sure that I am taking some sneaky photos from the sideline for you, just to let you know who's in the crowd at the grand final.
And why would you go home? Like, I know a lot of my Magpies girls are still up there, and I don't know when they're coming back. But when you still can't leave your house more than 5Ks, I think it's a great idea to stay up there and supporting netball. I think Queensland have done such a good job with getting this league to the end. We're actually going to see a grand final, which excites me so much. But now, girls, get around it because we're seeing players there, and it just looks so good for our sport because we don't see that in other sports.
No, you don't at all. All right, it's time to get to the final say. Okay, Braz, this is where you have to put yourself out there. You have to tell me what your final say is for the grand final edition. What have you got?
I am going West Coast Fever.
Yep.
By 10.
Whoa!
But it's only going to push out to 10 in the last 5 minutes.
With a few super shots?
Yeah, a couple of super shots, and I reckon Alice Teague-Neal will get those. And player of the match.
You need some thinking music just added on top of this?
I will go Jhaniele Fowler.
Okay, surprise, surprise, hey. Jhaniele Fowler, I think, will feature heavily if they're going to finish by 10.
That wasn't me.
That was me. Damn. Did you hear that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just go again.
That should have been my thinking music.
Yeah. It's time for the final say, Braz, and I'm going to go to you first. I want to know who's going to win the game on the weekend. I want to know who's going to be player of the match and how much they're going to win by.
So I'm tipping West Coast Fever. That's why I've worn my green.
Okay.
And I am going by 10 points. And I'm going to say it's going to be a close game up until the last 5. And then I'm backing in Alice Teague-Neal to get those last super shots. But player of the match, I'm going to go Jhaniele Fowler. I'm only saying this because I reckon she'll just shoot a crazy amount of goals. But I reckon, I don't know who gives it out, but normally it goes to a shooter. But I'm backing in Verity Charles to have the game of her life. So I'm hoping she's the one that actually gets it, but I still think Jhaniele will get it.
Do you know what? I actually don't even know who hands it out, to be honest. We discuss it sometimes over our comms when we're during the game, but I actually don't even know who makes that final decision. But okay, so you're going, was that Fowler or Charles for player of the match?
Fowler by default.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go, obviously my heart says Vixens, but my head does too because I think they are a smarter team in that they're more versatile. I actually am going to tip a draw first up. And it's going to go into extra time. And I don't know if you know this, Braz, but the extra time has changed this season. And so let me take you through it. So if it is a draw at the end of full time, there's 90 seconds where they can go off, have a drink. They stay at the same end though, and they'll play 5 minutes. So not 5 minutes each way, it's just 5 minutes. If it's still a draw at the end of that, then it goes into sudden death extra time. And this season, you have to be up by 3 to win it in the sudden death extra time. And in this 5 minutes extra time and sudden death, the super shot is in play. That is why you have to win by 3, because I think they figure the super shot is going to play some part in it. I think we're going to see our first extra time. I think the Vixens are going to win it by 3 after that. And I think Emily Mannix is going to get player of the match, because the only way Vixens are going to win it is if I think the goalkeeper for the Vixens has a brilliant game in stopping the powerhouse that is Jhaniele Fowler.
Yeah, and I actually hope Em has a good game. She's had a great season. But you know what, B, talk about a draw. It's 2020. Anything is possible. It would not surprise me if we've done the 5 minutes and now we're into like the extra overtime and we're still playing for 20 minutes. Like, anything could happen.
Can you imagine being a player having to do that after going through the whole game, 60 minutes of netball? It would be exhausting, but it would be absolutely brilliant.
I do have a question though about the extra overtime. Yeah. If that happens, are you still allowed to make rotating subs?
I believe so. So I've got my rundown on extra time.
Look at you, you're professional.
Yeah, I thought I'd better make sure that I have that. Teams can make substitutions in the break before extra time commences. Or maybe no rolling subs.
I reckon there would have to be, because that's how we've played all year. It would shock me if you couldn't.
Yeah, normal injury and rolling substitutions can occur during extra time, but no tactical timeouts. There you go. Okay, it's exciting. I cannot wait. Oh, it's going to be a long game. It's going to be a great game. I'm very excited. Hopefully everybody out there, netball fans, sport fans, are tuning in at 1 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time, 12 o'clock or 12:30 up here in Queensland. But to tune into the grand final on Channel 9 all around the country. So thanks so much, Braz. It's been an awesome edition to chat all about this big game. And I look forward to reviewing it all with you next week.
What a year. Awesome, babe.
Yeah. That is Centre Court. All thanks to TAC, Ditch the Distractions, and Lexus of Berwick, who are here for you. Visit lexusofberwick.com.au. We'll see you next week.